Dennis and I were on vacation recently together in the Caribbean with friends and family, and everyone wanted to snorkel except me. And look, I said, I'm not that into snorkeling. It makes me uncomfortable. I'd be fine if we would just scuba instead. And everyone looked at me like I was absolutely insane. Like scuba is far more risky than snorkeling. So they went snorkeling. And I had a very pleasant afternoon sitting on the beach watching them snorkel, but I was just completely happy. And the point is, there are just so many ways to do the back nine.
This is The Back Nine with Dennis Williams and Josh Mora.
Dennis, here we are again, back from vacation, long back from vacation, actually, since I had that trip. But
you missed the sea turtles. I guess you could watch National Geographic and see them, but when you see them in person, it is a big deal.
But you get my point now. I was much more comfortable with air on my back in a tank that I can actually breathe through than if I'm snorkeling and if a wave comes or if I don't swim evenly, that water's going to come down that tube and I'm going to choke, and that makes me really nervous.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that. You'd scuba over snorkeling.
Would.
You have to be the first person to ever say that, but we'll go with
it. I would have loved to have seen the sea turtles. I have scubaed before, and I've snorkeled before badly.
Yes.
I prefer to. It was a great vacation. It was fun to spend time with you. So.
Yeah, it's obviously a great place, and we're in that mode today. I got the Blue Chair Bay rum hat on. Mm-hmm. Shameless plug for the company that my daughter works for, and it originated from Kenny Chesney in St. John when he developed the rum, and I've got my St. John shirt on. So we're ready to rock and roll.
You are carrying the banner for the Caribbean, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, the whole idea of this season on the Back Nine is to have former colleagues, friends, people that we were in the business with many years ago when we were in the business. And boy, there's nobody who fits the bill better than this guy, Kevin O'Neill, who is my former brother-in-law, and I can tell you that we wouldn't be sitting here had I not met him at the CBS station in Buffalo, New York. Boy, should we give this away? Almost 30 years ago, 28 years ago or something. Hey, Kevo, how you doing, buddy?
I know nothing about scuba diving or snorkeling. We need to pivot this conversation quickly, although I have done both. And I find that snorkeling is pretty much the quickest way to make sure that salt water gets into your lungs.
Thank you, Kevin. I knew I liked you. I've always liked you.
So here's the thing, guys. I have experience with this, and I will tell you that I would have agreed with you 2 years ago. The entire key is getting custom fitted for snorkel gear if you're going to snorkel regularly, because you're right. When you get that rental gear, you all have bad experiences with the crappy gear. But if you get your own snorkel gear, a mask that fits, and all the right equipment, you will love it. I promise you. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
That's going to come in handy in Buffalo, so where Kevin is.
Buffalo is an outstanding place to dive and look at shipwrecks. But we have more shipwrecks in Lake Erie than there are in the Bermuda Triangle. And
by the way, no one knows this stuff better than you, Kevin, because for those who aren't from Buffalo, you have been on the air there for almost 30 years, and you've been celebrating Western New York. You were the why guy. You have to have the number one breadth of trivia, Buffalo trivia. You have to might be the smartest Buffalo trivia person on the planet. I would put you up against, if there was a trivia contest about Buffalo, you couldn't be beaten. Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe Pete Gallivan might edge me a little bit, but it's one of those things. I'm an expert about Buffalo. I'm pretty smart. I don't know where my car keys are at a given moment. But,
right.
But if you need to know where to get a beer or about Buffalo history, I'm your guy. Yeah.
Well, that's really an interesting point, because we all have our little niche areas of expertise. And those are things that we should be proud of. We should celebrate those things, even if there's other things that so many of us often feel, I don't have this, or that guy is doing that. And there's something to be said for being authentically you and being proud of who you are and what your strengths are and living to those.
I was lucky enough to find a job in my hometown, and Buffalo, the city that's just a perennial underdog. And I've always, when I went to college, people didn't like, oh, you're from Buffalo. I was always so proud wearing Buffalo on my sleeve and on my hat, of course. And to get a job where I get to boost Buffalo and make Western New Yorkers feel good about where they live and the people they live around. Again, I could have moved on to there's always a debate. Do you want to be a small fish in a big market or a big fish in a small market? And I just found a job that I love in the city that I love, and I stuck with it. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as they keep paying me.
And your journey's been terrific. You've had some ups and downs. Obviously, we worked together at a different station. You had to switch TV stations. You also got a meteorology degree. So you're also a meteorologist now. So talk about, because you're talking to two guys right now that got out of the business. We completely pivoted, redefined ourselves, moved on to something else. You still in the business have to go through these transitions. Talk about what you've been through in transitioning and redefining yourself inside of the business.
I had to evolve and within the industry. You talk about, you look at newspapers and broadcast radio and what's happening to them. And I think broadcast television, broadcast news in many ways, it's already happening here. And so I knew that I needed to evolve within the industry. And I got a job in TV doing live shots for the CBS affiliate in Buffalo. And it was a union shop. So you're prohibited from really learning new skills. I wanted to learn how to shoot. I wanted to learn how to edit. And they were very restrictive. No, you're taking somebody else's job if you learn how to do those things. And I wanted to grow. I wanted to be able to do these things by myself and be able to schedule myself and shoot and edit. And so I went to the NBC affiliate partly because I thought it was a better place to work, but also partly so I could get these new skills. And I said, hey, I'm thinking about becoming a meteorologist. I've always been a weather buff. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Now I know how to shoot and edit and I know how to forecast weather and do the weather on the air. And I still get to do fun live shots too. So it was just a matter of personal of growth and challenging yourself too. I didn't want to get stuck doing the same thing.
A two-part question here, Kevin. How did you, come to that realization that you needed to or wanted to learn more? And what are you doing now? How do you keep that process alive, having seen the fruits of that decision in this successful transition from really cool live shot features reporter to meteorologist? How do you keep that going, into that attitude going even now, and what might be next or work alongside and parallel to what you're doing now?
I think that I wanted to challenge myself. I felt myself in a certain malaise and professionally. I got the job at Channel 4, and after a year, I was really good at doing live shots. And 12 years later, I was really good at doing live shots. And I knew that the industry was going in a way. There was union strife too. I'm not anti-union. There happened to be a bit of there were at Loggerheads, the management of the union. And I wanted the freedom to, again, just to evolve. And I wasn't happy. And I knew that at this particular time and place, the NBC affiliate Channel 2, WGRZ in Buffalo, was doing a better job of challenging its employees and was a more attractive place to work and was climbing in the ratings as well. And so I thought that it would be better for me. And if you have confidence in yourself, sometimes you have to do something that's uncomfortable that'll make yourself better off years down the road.
Are there things that you're pursuing now to continue to challenge yourself? To pursue now that continue to help you evolve and grow?
I guess so, but right now my job is varied enough. I'm locked into a contract, thankfully, and I'm in weather mode sometimes, and I'm in feature reporter mode. I just did the weather this morning, and then Tuesday I'm going to drive and go to the Toy Hall of Fame. I'm satisfied with the diversity that I have in my job, but down the road, don't let my boss see this, but down the road, me being able to produce my own content and sell my own content would be something I'd be interested in. But as of now, I'm happy where I'm working, and I don't want to mess with a good thing.
So being a big fish in a small pond, it's great in some respects, but it also means that in a place like Buffalo, people get a real understanding of your personal life. It's really hard to keep it personal. You went through a divorce. You are now happily remarried. And all of that, while you're a private person, is still in that town public, right? So talk about how you manage that, how difficult it was, and what you did personally to get yourself on the other side, on the back nine of your life, and happily remarried and with a beautiful daughter.
Yeah, there's, life is what happens while you're making other plans. And 2 daughters. Again, my daughters are 21 years apart. 21 years apart. So I had a daughter before I got married, and then I was married for 10 years without a daughter. We didn't have any more kids, and now I'm married with a new daughter. And I think I've had a lot of sort of pivots and unexpected things happen in my life, but ultimately you want to do what's right for others and try to pursue your own happiness as well. Having a child before I got married publicly was something I never planned on, but it's been so rewarding. And what kids do, and they center you so amazing, and they change your priorities for the better. And then, of course, publicly getting married and publicly getting divorced is something that I found people were very supportive. Again, it's a small town here, and people tend to have been supportive, and a lot of people have been through it. I was pretty quiet, but I did mention online my battle. My mom passed away with Alzheimer's, and that was a 5 to 6 year struggle. And people were very encouraging to me. And now I have a daughter with autism, and I do hear from other people. And the fact that we're in the city of Buffalo, which is where we all really got each other's back. Like Chris Berman used to say on ESPN, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. It seems like the Buffalo really did give me a lot of support through all these barriers and all these obstacles that I had. And also I learned a lot from my mom. My mom had a lot of sudden and interesting transitions and twists and turns in her life, but she always believed in faith and then the power of love. And I've taken that with me as well.
I think that's a really important point, Kevin, whether it's in Buffalo or Wichita or Los Angeles or wherever it is, to be able to find your community and to reach out, to have the courage to reach out to your support group and know that they'll be there for you. And sometimes people that you don't anticipate being there for you will be there for you. And I'd like to focus on one other thing, because you're a parent 20 years apart, right? 21 years apart with your two girls. How is your perspective different the second time through? Are there different things that you notice, different things that you appreciate, different things that you can lean into here when you're a parent on the back nine as opposed to when you're a parent on the front nine?
Yeah, having a child now in my 50s, and I'm still running around. I could barely outrun her. And I know that Dennis's girls are closer in age to each other than mine are, certainly. But you wait for them to grow up, and then you want to stop time sometimes. And you wish that you could go back sometimes. And with my older daughter, Savannah, I did love being her dad. And I had a lot of great moments. And I never thought that I would have another daughter again. Never thought I'd have another kid again. But again, especially with the divorce, and I had the snip, and okay, I had my daughter, and I'm done having kids, and I'm done being married. And then you meet somebody you can't live without. And my wife, younger than me, never had a kid. And okay, here I go again. And so what I've learned is just to really appreciate the quiet moments, reading a book to her. And I don't mean just going to an amusement park and going to water slides. Reading a book, pulling her in a wagon, looking at a sunset with her. I really soak in all of those moments. And I'm very appreciative to have this time to share the world with the new young girl. I'm very thankful. And I've had a lot of trials and tribulations, but I have a lot of gratitude in my heart.
We'll be right back after this.
The Back Nine podcast is brought to you in part by Nick Warner Consulting. On his Back Nine, Nick is a business coach and consultant. Nick says hope is not a strategy. His consulting is tailored to your unique situation while remaining adaptable to solve problems and create new opportunities. Nick pairs well with new businesses and also leaders or individuals who are stuck and looking for personal and professional growth. He has helped my business, Three Bridges Consulting, immensely. I cannot recommend Nick enough. Visit nickwarnerconsulting.com today for more. The Back Nine podcast is brought to you in part by Che Brands, adult beverage products that offer healthy options for your social life, including zero sugar, low carb, low calorie flavored vodka, and ready to drink cocktails, coconut mojito, lemon drop martini, zero caffeine vanilla espresso martini. They are all amazing. Visit chayspirits.com for more. That's CHAY spirits.com.
Now back to the show.
That's extraordinary. I think all of our listeners can get a great lesson from the fact that you have hit those bumps in the road and figured out ways to get through them. And one of the things that resonates with me is the fact that you had the support, right? You had a support group, your community, your family, all of those really important things. Not everybody has that. So sometimes you have to dig in to yourself. What are your thoughts on that? Buffalo's like your family. The whole town is your family. Everybody loves you. You're a huge celebrity there. Let's not kid ourselves. But there's people out there that don't have that support, and it's tough.
You know what? I think I don't have the same perspective other people do. What is going to make yourself happier years down the road? And going through divorce sucks. But when you go through it on the other side, you're happier. And I think whether it be through a tight-knit group of friends, through therapy, through activities which make you happy, just to find your happiness and give yourself happy days and stringing together happy days and happy moments. I think that's the best way to get through tough times. And realize that what pain is part of life. Any day on this side of the grass is the reason to celebrate. And after life is short, I think life is long. And especially when you take time to appreciate all these moments and the fact that it's a sunny day in Buffalo and it's only 45 degrees, but I'm going to take a walk and really just have gratitude in your heart for every day. And though you're going through tough times, there are people around you that love you and care about you. And of course, social media makes it so easy to give yourself a network of support. And if you're having a tough time, contact a therapist. There's nothing wrong with that. I've been to therapists 3 times in my life, and it was very rewarding to me. And again, when I was not expecting to have a daughter in my 20s, I'm a pretty traditional guy. I think you should get married and have a kid. But it was a tough time for me. And my therapist said, am I wrong to be struggling with this? And he said, you'd be crazy if you weren't having a tough time. Again, life is what happens sometimes when you're making other plans, and do the best thing you can every day. And that helped me out a lot. And then the new relationships you build with my daughter and new relationships you build with the new job or the new people you surround yourself with, they'll be your own little network of support.
Yeah, I think what you said there is great. It's probably a great way to put a button on this, is that when those dark moments, it's so hard to not know, actually to know that it's going to be better on the other side. And that's what I tell people all the time, because we've all had, if you go through divorce or any kinds of the issues we've discussed, there are just some dark moments you don't actually think you're going to be able to get through. But I think that's why we're doing the show. We're testaments to being able to get through those dark times. And that's why we're having a great guest like you that have just been through so much and are on the other side of it and can smile and be grateful and be living in a community and go home and kiss your daughter right now after your morning at work. And all of the great things that you have in your life are because you went through all those struggles and you had those dark moments and came out the other side. So that's such a profound and great way to end this, is to have people think about that. You may be listening now and be really down and really in a dark place. And the 3 guys talking to you right now have been in some pretty dark places and figured out their way out of it. And that's what I hope other people can do on the back 9.
Sometimes it's tougher to have gratitude in your heart. Sometimes it comes easily. Sometimes you got to cram it in there. But there are always reasons to be thankful. Again, my mom's journey with Alzheimer's was just terrible. It was the toughest thing I've ever been through. But even when she didn't know who I was, I could still hold her hand and look and listen to the birds. And not everybody has that pleasure. And so you just try to be thankful for what you have and the time you have with people. And then again, I think it gets easier over time. And again, the cliche, if you're going through hell, just keep going. And life has its ups and downs, and you're going to get through it, and you're going to be okay.
This has been a definite up, reconnecting with you for me, Kevin. Certainly thankful for you throughout the years of our friendship, and thankful to see you again, and thankful for your time with us here on the Back 9.
Next time we're talking, let's have golf balls and beers in there somewhere.
I think that's
you better come
fine.
to Florida then, because
right.
you're out of golf season now up there. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. That was terrific. And you talk about a healing time in your life, your former brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And his sister and I did not have the greatest ending. So I think there's some great lessons in this. He's always been just a great guy, good-hearted human being. And you saw that today, and you heard that today in his voice. He's been through a lot, right? Yeah. And I'm almost speechless now with some of the stuff. So I'll let you pick it up.
Yeah, no, I know that was meaningful and impactful, especially for you, for reasons beyond just what was the lessons. And me too, because it's been a long time since I've seen Kevin, and he's such a wonderful guy. But there are 2 things. We'll start with this one, because I think we'd be in agreement about this, which is his lesson, which you talked about pretty early in that segment, about when you are in a position where things don't seem to be going for you in your direction, to try to be able to pull back and say, all right, this is a challenge for me. I can grow from this. That's not easy when you're in a dark place. But it really is, if I think back on the lessons that I've been through, the trials and tribulations that I've been through, the moments where I've been able to put aside my angst or my worry or my fear and say, okay, how can I see this as an opportunity to grow? And it takes some time to get there, from the moment there is I don't want to say trauma with a capital T, but a lowercase t trauma, personal trauma that causes that angst. It takes some time to be able to go from that moment where it happens, to work through the emotions of it, to be at a point where even you can just say, I can look at this as an opportunity to have time to grow. And I think that, to our audience out there, when you have that moment, that is a huge step. And you should applaud yourself for getting to that step, to say, I can be better on the other side of this.
Think about how easy it would be to feel sorry for yourself. His mom for 5 years is struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia. and he takes the moment to have gratitude to hold her hand. His 4-year-old daughter has autism, and he has gratitude to be able to spend time and do the things with her. There's never been with him a woe is me. There's always finding gratitude in dark moments. And I think that's a real lesson for me. I actually need to be better at that. I need to be better at thinking about when I'm feeling lousy, I got a lot to be grateful for, right? And I think if you're out there listening to this and you're in that moment, you probably have something, piece of gratitude in your life that you can cling on to help you get through that difficult moment.
And I think you can allow yourself to feel sadness or feel concern without being a victim, without feeling like, woe is me, right? It's sad when you lose a relationship. It's sad when, your kid leaves home and is no longer in the house and you're an empty nester. And that's okay to feel that sadness. Where you get stuck is if you look at it as a victim. Let me transition to one other point. I think you came around to a different perspective, but in the moment we were talking about it, you were talking about how not everybody has that group of friends or someone to lean into. And that may be true. You may not have that cadre of people that you feel that are your close friends that you can go have a beer with or play around a golf with or whatever it is to get some support. But there is an avenue. There is an outlet for something. Is it a support group? Is it some kind of if you were going through alcoholism, there's Al-Anon to support a friend who's going through alcohol. There's Alcoholics Anonymous if you need that kind of support group. There's a support group there's a support group, I'm sure, for autistic parents and families who have autistic children in their families. So there is always somebody that you can lean into. And I have some experience with that. And I found I was distrusting of it when I was first hearing about it. But once I leaned into it, I understood the value of even having that kind of support group, even if it isn't somebody who has the work cubicle next to you or who you went to college with or high school with or whatever it might be. And so if you're out there feeling alone, I think it's really important to know that there are groups who can help you, even if you don't feel like you can find that in your family or in your friends.
I couldn't say it any better. In Buffalo, though, you know what else you need a support group for? The Bills.
Well, that's,
I had to lighten things up at the end.
Yes.
Is there a support group for the Buffalo Bills? Because that town has suffered miserably. And
but is there any better community than Bills fans?
Isn't.
They are all in it together. There's a really good example, right?
It's a really good example because sports fans get in dark places, right? And the Bills have put people in really dark places. And I only bring this up to lighten things up and realize that is a community, right? They support each other in those really difficult times. And I will tell you, a Monday after a Bills loss, there's no other town. We've both been through it. There's no other town on the planet that has more morose and sadness and disappointment and water cooler talk and all the things that happen than that town. But great show today.
Yeah, he's terrific. Fantastic. All right, we're going to try to top that next time. Hope you'll join us on the Back Nine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Back Nine podcast. Please like, follow, and share, and leave us a 5-star rating and a review. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred platform.
The Back Nine is hand-woven by Stella Mix Productions and recorded at Pixelworks Studios in Delray Beach, Florida.